Securities!
Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Jim. That's John the Innkeeper Blevins over there, or John the Blevins more accurately, and cleverly, I might add. We are here for a pretty exciting week of Hearthstone news, I gotta say. I've been getting ready for Wednesday for a while now because we have just a ton of Blackrock Mountain information and cards to look at. Like, we actually have spoilers, so we can talk about future metas instead of thinking about Face Hunter. So that's always a plus.
We can still keep talking about Face Hunter.
No, we don't need to. It's the worst. Okay, so anyways, first things first, we do have our pack giveaway from last week. I don't know if we are quite ready for that yet. John will let us know as soon as we are. But for next week's show, and me and John haven't talked about this, so he's going to be as surprised as you guys are. We're going to be giving away another free pack every week. We're going to do it, and this time you're going to have to share the announcement of the podcast on your Facebook page, as well as like the Facebook page. So I will put a link to that down below in the description. As soon as I find a pen, I'll write it down so I don't have to scramble to remember what links I'm supposed to put in the description. And we will get everything squared away for this pack giveaway today, and that was done through Twitter retweets. So
I do have the necessary things ready to give it away if we are ready to do that.
I think we're pretty ready. I don't know about you. Just let me know when you want your drum roll.
All right, so we had a whopping 5. We had 5 non-us retweets.
Woo! Wait, I can't win?
So, I mean, we can throw ourselves in there if you want. But I'll give you a hint. It's not going to be you that wins.
Oh,
and it's not going to be not me either. No, but we had 5 retweets that aren't us. And so you guys, the people who were kind enough to retweet us, have a 1 in 5 chance. So let me just put a 1 to 5 here. I'm really hoping it's not Alex Bianchi.
Can't be Alex Bianchi. We'd have to re-roll.
Yeah, we might have to re-roll. Okay, the magical number is 2, which is drum roll, please. Mr. Brandon Seib. Mr. Brandon Seib, at Brandon Seib on Twitter, my old roommate. You are the winner of this week's pack.
Congratulations, Brandon.
Congratulations.
Cyberman in Twitch, I believe.
Cyberman in Twitch, precisely. Cyberman, whatever. You are the winner, and you get a pack, and he needs the pack. He's only rank 8, and he challenged me to a race to Legend this season.
All right, so what we'll do, Mr. Sieberman, is we will DM you your code on Twitter, since that's how you entered to win. We know we can get you there, so that's where your code will be. Congratulations to you. And for anybody interested in winning a pack for next week, again, you're going to have to find us on Facebook, like us on Facebook, and as well, you're going to have to share the announcement that I will put up tonight. I swear I'll remember this time. I forgot last week and put it up the next morning. So don't freak out if that happens, because I've been known to forget things from time to time. All right, and it is a classic pack, too.
I forget things.
It is a classic pack, and so unfortunately we can't give away GVG. It's just not a code that exists yet, to my knowledge. So
I don't think so.
Yeah, I haven't seen them given away yet. But anyways, so much exciting news. Let's get to it straight away here, because we have the announcement of Blackrock Mountain, the next Hearthstone adventure. It's going to be released very similarly to Naxxramas. There will be 31 cards spread across 5 wings for you to earn. Let's see. I'll just give all these details here. I don't know how well John can read it. We have... All right. We have 5 wings purchasable for $25. If you already own the first wing because you bought it with gold, it costs $19 to buy the rest. You can see it on the screen there as well. $14 if you already own 2 wings, and $10 if you already own 3. Individual wings will be $7 a piece, or 700 gold each, and pre-ordering gets you that super sweet exclusive card back that I know John is just itching to hype for you guys because he's so excited that they decided to include this bonus for you.
I am excited that they give us a bonus because I do love card backs, but they're making you have to pre-order it. I wanted to get it all with gold, or at least I'm gonna say that because I'm acting like I have enough gold to buy all the wings, but now I have to buy it. I was gonna have to buy it anyway. Now I'm gonna have to have these sleeves that I might use them. No, there's still nothing better than the legend sleeves except for the pumpkin sleeves. So once I get sick of the legend sleeves, I'll use the pumpkin sleeves again.
I don't think the legend sleeves are even that interesting looking. I'm not even a big fan of them.
No, they're not interesting.
Love this. And also, I have some kind of insight as to why they did this way, because I know there's people that, hey, like, I've owned everything. I could have just saved up the gold and bought, five times 700 it's not a big number as far as gold's concerned if I just stopped buying packs. But I've been kind of planning for this, and I didn't necessarily know there was going to be a pre-order, but I just said, screw it, I'll buy these solo adventures with cash as they come out, and just kind of do it that way. So it's not really a big surprise to me either, because they want to encourage people to pre-order, because the last time they came out with a solo adventure, Naxxramas, people were locked out of the game for months because it was so popular, and so many people hit the store instantaneously. There were people locked out of Naxxramas. There were people who couldn't log into Hearthstone at all. Prominent streamers, Hafu, I believe, was one of these people that had like 2.5 months she couldn't log into her account with all the gold and everything, and how many Twitter followers and subscribers, and it was an income source for her that she's basically unemployed. Well, she probably played on EU, but still. Even then, right. And she actually, I believe, if memory serves, took a break because it's such a demoralizing thing. I can't imagine what I would do if I lost my Hearthstone collection. I know exactly what I'd do. I'd play Magic again. But anyways. Also, we do have a little bit of inside information. 18 of these 31 cards, according to Mr. Ben Brode, will be class-specific cards. These are one common and one rare, as you can see. So that's for every single class. We do know the common for warrior, we know the rare for rogue, and we know the rare for shaman as well. And we're going to be taking a look at them soon. But that's a really high percentage of this solo adventure, John, that is class specific. Yeah, I actually think that's good. I feel like even though Naxxramas really shifted the meta, I think it kind of left us kind of wanting a little more. It felt really low getting one common per class in Naxxramas, even though almost every single class common has been played in one form or another in competitive play. So now maybe this just gives them liberty to print bad cards, but there's not the pressure to really overperform on the cards. And I've got to say, so far, that's not what we've seen either. We've seen solid playable options for these class cards. For some of them, yeah. For the class ones, sure, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Just speaking of the class ones. Yeah, I also think that for $25, is this the same price as Naxxramas? I think so. Yeah, except for there's no free wing. There's no free wing, right. But a lot of people don't get the free wing anyway because you had to be there during the first week, right? I think so, or the first. I think month you had like a month actually to log in. Yeah, but a lot of people afterwards didn't have the chance to get the free wing. So $25 for 5 class cards and however many neutral cards they had for Naxxramas seems kind of steep, especially for players who are just starting to get into the game. I've talked to a lot of people who weren't around for Naxxramas or didn't have the gold or didn't really play that much during Naxxramas, and they're asking me, oh, should I buy Naxxramas? I'm like, wait, you don't have Naxxramas? It's just like, for a lot of us, we had it after, like, once it was done, we had all the cards, and there was, like, in a lot of people's minds, those cards are free, but really, that's another $25 you got to spend. And for the number of cards you get, for a newer player that's not really looking to play high-level constructed, that doesn't necessarily care about the low thebs, and isn't going to be able to play with Busted Undertaker, it's like, yeah, I'd rather just buy packs, So I feel like Blizzard adding extra cards, even if they're not that good,
is a good thing. Although there might not be extra cards totaled, extra class cards. I don't know. You seem kind of cheated if you get all neutral cards. I don't know. They're usually less exciting.
Yeah, there's definitely more of an opportunity for them to be bad, or a lot of them are like super specifically good. So even though their lore or whatever places them in this this kind of spot, this spot where they are just non-specific to the classes. Sorry about that. You get lost my complete train of thought. I apologize.
Yeah, just because these cards are in Blackrock Mountain, you kind of they take Blizzard takes a lot of pride in their flavor and in their lore and their fluff. So a lot of the cards are really thematic, but they might not necessarily be good for constructed play. But there's always two sides of the coin when designing games like this. You need to have, especially for Hearthstone, where they definitely care more about the casual crowd than other games do.
Right.
They need to have flavorful cards and also have cards that are good for constructed too, because they're trying to promote the game as an esport as well. So.
Right. Well, let's start to take a look at some of these individual cards that have actually come out, and this is the first initial wave that we got, okay? And I don't know that this represents the actual first wing or not. That was not necessarily made clear, but we do know that Rend Blackhand will be the legend that you get at the end of the first wing. That much I know is clear. And John is just so pumped for Rend because he thinks the power level on this card is just off the chain. And,
no, I'm really pumped because I think they're probably going to make it so you can disenchant these cards and keep running the raid over and over again to get dust. Oh, wait, they're probably not doing that. Never mind, I'm not excited about Rend Blackhand at all. He seems really, really bad.
He's awful.
I can't think, okay, I always try to play devil's advocate, and people are saying this card's bad, and I can't even think of a reason to think that it wouldn't be bad. It costs 7 mana, so it's already competing with Dr. Boom, and I feel bad that I said those two cards in the same sentence. I mean, it does kill Dr. Boom for a whopping 7 mana, plus you have to be holding a dragon, where you could just be playing BGH, which, by the way, can trade for this when it comes into play, and also if it's already in play, it can just attack it and trade with it. Really?
He's just awful.
Really?
He's awful. First of all, there's so many decks out there that play so few legends that he's super situational, and you just would rather not play him, right? Even if he was good.
Oh, well, you can kill their Sylvan. Oh, wait.
Even if he
good.
was
you can kill
good.
Their Seathold
well, I mean, in Face Hunter, you get to kill Leroy, right? So, that's good. Because he's always cast, and then you're alive the next turn. That's usually how that goes.
Oh.
But, listen, there's plenty of matchups where you're just not even going to want this guy. So he would have to be brought in as like a counter to something very specific, and it's probably
very specific.
Control Warrior is my guess, is where he would be best, because I'm playing 12 legends, and there's nothing anybody can do to stop that.
I guess. He's bad against Gromash. He's not that good against Alexstrasza. He's not good against Sylvanas.
Alex has to, but I'm saying his
but
ability.
This isn't the best way to do that. You're not going to play two BGHs and this.
Forget his mana cost and forget his stats. Assume he's aggressively costed and efficient. The ability you're not going to want outside of a Control Warrior matchup.
I don't even think you want it in that matchup. I don't think it's good against any of the legends that they play.
It's good against a fair amount of them, but my point is that he's even bad at doing that. You're going to want Hemet Nessingwary against a very specific build of Hunter. So let's say that deck becomes really popular, Hemet Nessingwary starts to sneak into play. Okay, this is worse at its job and at countering what you want to use it against than Hemet Nessingwary, who's awful and unplayable, and I don't think would see play no matter how popular Hunter got. So,
no, I don't think so.
They're similarly terribly costed and stat appropriated, and Rend just adds this awkward situation of I need to have a dragon in my hand. Not
to add insult to injury.
There's just not a million dragons out there, guys, and there might be soon. and we're gonna, we'll see as
that
we
would
get
be
2 cards in here.
that would be cool. I mean, he's interesting in the sense that he previews the if you're holding a dragon mechanic, which is cool for a couple reasons. A, it shows that there's another thing that can interact with cards in your hand without like revealing them like you would in Magic.
Right.
And B, I mean, it's kind of taken for granted now because we saw these last week, but Dragon is now a minion type. So now, although did they make it before?
It's always
was
been.
Dragon a minion?
Always been.
Oh, has it always been?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well,
so they clearly plan to have some interactions with the creature type dragon.
Really? Are you sure that it's always been?
I'm sure, buddy. Did you know?
Okay. Well, I'll take your word for it.
Like Totem is a minion type as well.
I did know that Totem was.
Yeah.
I did know that Totem and Demon were. I guess I just didn't pay that much attention to Dragon because there's no reason to care about it. Right. I guess maybe I would have seen this coming if I would have been paying attention to it. But yeah. So it definitely depends on what dragons get played. I mean, not for him specifically, but this ability specifically. And I don't know if they said it or not, but it's a little bit ambiguous, and I never take any rules in Hearthstone for granted because they pretty much always work the opposite of how I would think they would using Magic logic.
Right.
So it would seem that if you're holding a dragon means if it's in your hand. But does it mean if it's in your hand or if there's one in play? I don't know. I mean, obviously it's better if it works for both. I would think that
they get away with some really ambiguous wording because it's programmed in. So once it's figured out, the information just gets out there. People figure it out, and then it never changes because it's governed by a program. I'll say I can't imagine this will actually count. Like if you have something on the board, I think to me that kind of defeats the point. Like it's almost like just runs a dragon deck. Like and then these are all super good.
Yeah, I feel like that's what they're trying to promote.
Yeah, no, they definitely want you to run a dragon deck, but I think that the phrase "if you're holding a dragon," I think that has to be in your hand, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter a lot of times because a lot of the dragons are big, huge, fatty boom booms that you're going to be keeping in your hand at all times. And I guess maybe if there's some good early drops that get powered up from dragons, it's like feasible to be able to keep a Alexstrasza in your opening hand or something. I mean, that does create a really interesting wrinkle if they somehow made it beneficial to keep 9 drops in your opening hand. That's an interesting design. That's an interesting design path to go.
It would certainly be interesting. And so just a little back or side information for you. A reminder: the dragons that currently exist that are playable and don't cost 9 mana are Azure Drake, Fairy Dragon, and Twilight Drake. So those are really the kind of role fillers that you need to fill out a deck, that fill out your mana curve. So it kind of makes you think that the Dragon deck really might go into a Warlock shell because it's bound to be mid-rangey, and you're going to want to play the Twilight Drake, and the hero ability just keeps your mid-range deck fueled and also really helps with your Twilight Drakes early on. So
yeah,
that was kind of my initial thought for how it would go. And it would maybe even pull some handlock elements in. Like maybe you want to run Mountain Giants or the Giant package and then not run such a controlling aspect to it and just find this curve that works for you anyways. But it'll be interesting.
Also, hashtag Giant package.
All right, we'll tweet at John with the hashtag Giant package and feel free to send him some pictures or something. I don't know.
6 years old has been confirmerinoed.
Yeah, so that made it weird. But anyways.
Hey, you said it, man, not me.
Well, the next card we're looking at is that it looks like a rare to me. It is a basic card, but I think its use is, as we were talking about before, as I stumbled through before, this has a very specific home in my mind, and it's not going to be something that you see played in a variety decks. But Grim Patron is a 5-mana 3/3. Whenever this minion survives damage, summon another Grim Patron. So, really interesting card to me for a warrior deck.
Yeah. That's definitely the level 1. Where do you think this would go? Type of fit for this card. Whirlwind, Whirling Blades, whatever that card's called.
Mm-hmm.
Death's Bite. All those cards work pretty well with this guy.
Yeah, and I even thought that there's now the Magic player in me looks for the combos in everything that exists, right?
Yeah.
So I'm actually ahead of myself, and I'm talking about a card that we're not even looking on the screen yet. So this is like you said, basically it synergizes with those warrior cards. The other possibilities that are going to make it a viable card that I can see are like Wild Pyromancer, a way to deal damage to it and populate it.
Yes.
Also, the Unstable Ghoul has the Death Rattle to Whirlwind effect as well. So there is an opportunity, maybe one of the classes that's currently using Wild Pyromancer well, like Priest, might have an opportunity to run one of these as maybe like a mid-range win condition. I'm going to flood my board with 3/3s now. Let's see if you can handle it. And also it has the ability to Circle of Healing them all, maybe draw a million cards if you have the 1/3 out as well. So it's a possibility, but there's a lot less cards in your deck at a one specific spot in your mana curve that interact well with this.
Right. Yeah. This is one of the few cards I think that is less interesting in Hearthstone than it would be in Magic.
Yeah.
Surprisingly enough.
Agreed.
Because you can only ever the max that the absolute maximum you can get is 6 copies of this, and then your board's full.
Right.
So in Magic, there'd be a number of ways to abuse this and get infinite copies.
Give them haste. Go.
Yeah, my initial thing was Warsong Commander, but it doesn't actually synergize with Warsong Commander because I don't think Warsong Commander triggers when you put a copy in. I could be wrong, and if I am, this is a lot cooler, but I don't think so.
Whenever you summon a minion with 3 or less attack, so summoning it is playing it from your hand.
Yeah, so probably not, even though it says summon another Grim Patron.
Oh, well then I'm probably completely wrong.
I don't think you are, though, because I'm pretty sure that it reads similarly with Hobgoblin, and if you just looked at the wording, you would think that Hobgoblin would pump up Paladin's hero power, but it doesn't.
Okay.
So I guess this is going to be one of the things that we see how it works. Another thing with this, I think someone did a Reddit post about it, but I just saw the title, didn't bother reading it. Was how in the world does this interact with Whirling Blades? Does you cast Whirling? You have this in play, and you cast Whirling Blades in it, and one of the blades hits it. Does it immediately summon one, and then that next one is a possible target for the Whirling Blade, or
bouncing blades?
Or bouncing blades. There we go. Does it immediately summon it, and then that's a possible target for the next bouncing blade, or do you just get all the tokens at once? Or at the end, or if this dies at the end of the bouncing blade, do you not get anything because it didn't survive damage? I have no idea how the bouncing blade damage is dealt.
I would be very surprised if that was the case, because I'm thinking about even... Oh no, because it's one at a time. Like you get it, and then you would get the trigger, I think. So, but what the interesting question to me is, does the new one count? Is the new one a viable target? Do the abilities queue up, and then after the bouncing blade resolves, you drop down 2 of them, or however many you get if you're able to pump its toughness.
Right.
So if it bounces to the next one, could be super, super interesting. If it doesn't, maybe not so much.
Yeah, I mean, it's still only so good, right? Like, even if I guess it's just like a mini Onyxia, right? Like, you, maybe get to kill one of their guys, do some damage to their guys, and then have a board full of 3/3s.
I've got to say,
probably not bad.
I've got to say, I've been playing a lot of Paladin lately, and Quartermaster really likes the fill your board with 3/3s, and it's really powerful. So
that is a good point. That is a really good point.
If there's efficient ways and reliable ways to fill your board with copies of Grim Patron, the card will be playable. But it's curious to see what you give up to get that package. You know what I mean? It's almost like you have to be using pre-existingly good cards, unless they come out with a bunch of new cards that are going to interact with it, which we haven't seen yet.
Which they might. There's already another card that is similar to it. But let's move on to El Nextorino.
Yeah, the Hungry Dragon. So great minion. We both really big fans of this one. Great cost to stats ratio on this. Hungry Dragon Battle Cry. Summon a random 1-cost minion for your opponent. 4 mana, 5/6. Not much else to say. It's strictly better than Chillwind Yeti. And I'm not even worried about the Battle Cry.
Strictly is a strong word, but yeah, I think it's better than Chillwind. It also is notable that the existence of this card pumps Piloted Sky Golem. That gives it a buff because you can just get this off of Piloted Sky Golem, and it is. I can't imagine. Piloted Sky Golem I've already found to be quite good, but if they kill your Piloted Sky Golem and then you just drop a 5/6 end of sentence, that's just 5/6 is so good too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this out of a Piloted Sky Golem is really good.
Yeah, it eats all the piloted shredders. It eats Sludge Belcher. It 5 power and 6 toughness is pretty relevant. It doesn't get killed by who dare summon me? I have no idea what his actual name is. A Poultry Task, we'll call him. A Poultry Task. It's 5 mana, 5/7 charge, discard 2 cards. Warlock.
Doomguard.
I never once read the name. But yeah, Hungry Dragon, and it's a dragon, so that's got to be good, right? Unless they make like a dragon BGH, which they might.
His name's Ren Blackhand? Oh wait, no, you need a dragon. It's not even good enough to kill a dragon. Okay.
He gets Ren Blackhand. I really don't want to dwell too much on him because we've already given him more time than he deserves. He gets killed by the first half of Piloted Shredder. Come on, man! He attacks a Sludge Belcher and is left with 1 toughness. What's going on? Like, what are you doing, buddy?
He's really good against Swipe, though. Not as good as Hungry Dragon is, who I really think is going to find his way into decks like Paladin right now. I think he would totally play him. If you look at the 1-drop creatures that you can get for your opponent off of a Hungry Dragon, Abusive Sergeant, Angry Chicken, Argent Squire, Blood Imp, Clockwork Gnome, Bloodsail Corsair, gotta look out for that. Cogmaster, Dust Devil is potentially the best one they could possibly get, because I'm assuming I tapped in 4 mana for that.
Right.
Flame Imp, Elvish Archer, Goldshire Footman, OP, Grimscale Oracle. I can't wait to see those on ladder, by the way. Like, there's going to be Goldshire Footmans on the battlefield in ladder, every side of the field possible. Leopardome is a really quality option that could come out of there. Also, Mana Wyrm and Light Warden, I guess, in their respective decks could also be potential role fillers. But you have to stack all of them up against this 5/6 that you played on 4 mana, and it's just silly to me.
Yeah, it is. Definitely seems pushed. Now, there have been decks in the past, and I guess technically there's decks now that want to run a Chillwind Yeti, and I just don't know if you can justify running Chillwind Yeti over this guy.
Yeah, it's really... you can't justify him over this guy, in my opinion. And even then, like, he did get phased out a little bit, because despite... I mean, he's great in Arena, but, it's just one of those things that... This will completely phase it out, and I think that just being +1/+1 better is more than enough to warrant both the battle cry and the ability to play him. If he's too popular, though, maybe Priest just becomes really good because it's very efficient at dealing with the 5 power guys. But who's not okay with their Hungry Dragon being killed and then they don't have an answer for Tyrion? Like, to me, that's just a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think Hungry Dragon could definitely shift to a more mid-range meta. I mean, he's insane with Defender of Argus. He's good in the sense that he's a 4-drop that isn't really affected by silence at all. which is kind of nice because if you get your piloted Shredder silence, you're on the back foot a little bit.
Right.
If you get there's a number of 4-drops that are like suboptimal if they get silenced. But this guy, he eats everything, man. He just devours everything. He's a hungry dragon. I didn't actually mean that as a joke. I realized that. He actually just eats everything. And there's really, although we haven't seen all the cards from this set, he's really has no downfall, no backdrop right now.
That's true.
Although,
there's potential new 1-drops to come, but hopefully they just aren't Hunter class cards.
Is there? Oh yeah, Web Spinner's a pretty good one to get. Is there a like a random like token or something that costs 1 that's really insane? Sometimes they do that, and you might be able to get that off of him. Maybe that's what.
I don't think you're going to be able to because the piloted Sky Golems and Shredders did not do that.
That's true.
But John, so we're starting to see this dragon curve really flesh out here because now turn 2, we're just gonna play this out. Turn 2, I go Fairy Dragon. Okay. Turn 3, I play our next card here, this Blackwing Technician. It's a 2/4 for 3 mana that if you're holding a dragon, gain +1/+1, and that's convenient because I have a Hungry Dragon still in my hand since that costs 4 mana, and now I have this 3/2 you can't target it. This 3/5, and then I have this 5/6 on the board, and I just hit 4 mana. Really, really powerful start, and we'll see if it's good enough to compete with all the different tricks that decks like Rogue have, things like that, the board sweeps that are out. But that's a ton of power to drop on the board from this dragon deck that doesn't exist yet.
Yeah, the Blackwing Technician, I guess in that scenario, it's quite good. But I don't know. It's obviously going to depend on your deck. I don't know if the risk of not having it get the +1/+1 is worth it over Spider Tank. Just because it gets what? It gets +0/+1 over Spider Tank, but Spider Tank is a mech, which is already proven to be very good, good synergy with mechs. And if you don't have a dragon, this 2/4 for 3 isn't the worst, but it's not really that great.
Right.
I have no idea what the card's called. The one that gets +4 attack if your opponent has 6 cards in their hand.
Goblin Sapper.
Goblin Sapper. What's happening?
Is that what he says?
That is exactly what he says when you play him. Or maybe it's when you attack. I don't remember. What's happening? Yeah, he's not played at all because the 2/4 for 3 is really not that good. And I don't know. A lot of times, in Magic this happens, and it doesn't happen as much in Hearthstone right now because it's such a new game. But as the cards get more complex, just having a fat guy that has good stats usually doesn't end up being enough. I mean, right now, there are decks that are running vanilla creatures, but I don't know if in the future that's going to hold up. So even something like Hungry Dragon has really good stats right now, but if you look at just like the progression of Magic, like Jazam Jin, a 5/5 for 4 used to be just the most insane thing ever, but now like a vanilla, and it had a downside. A vanilla 5/5 for 4 would not even be considered playable really in Magic right now. Just like having a big vanilla guy a lot of times doesn't end up being that good. Although in Hearthstone it's obviously different because your guy's also removal, but it's I'm interested to see where the Hungry Dragon and even the Blackwing Technician end up falling. Just being basically just kind of big vanilla dudes.
Yeah, you definitely took the wind out of my sails a little bit with that card because you brought up just the perfect counter to it. Like, I can get half of the bonus if I just play the tank, Spider Tank.
Yeah.
And it's guaranteed. I don't need to have that dragon in my hand. So now I can play the cards like Hungry Dragon, not really be super interested in committing to cards like Fairy Dragon because I need to fill out this curve. So, but this card is basically as good as the dragons are in this set. If there's a plethora of playable dragons that fill out a nice mana curve, and you can almost play a dragon deck on accident, then this card will be good and it'll see play. If there's not, it won't.
I mean, it's probably quite good in arena considering it's a common, which is nice. But yeah, like the spider tank kind of. When I saw this card, I'm like, it's really not that much better than spider tank. However, unlike spider tank, it does survive piloted shredder hits, which is very relevant right now. So if that is enough to push you over, you know, it might still see play.
Yeah. Well, we are over halfway through the show already, so we got to get moving as we're on like slide number 2. We told you guys, we're so excited. Like we are little kids in a candy store over this stuff. Dark Iron Skulker, Battlecry, deal 2 damage to all undamaged enemy minions. This is a rogue rare. Okay, so we have half of the rogue cards that are available from this set. This one seems quite good in, like, they're really trying to make a push for Tempo Rogue to be a thing again, is in my opinion what this card signals.
Yeah. My initial thought is this guy's... I didn't think he was that good at first, and then I just saw a tweet from Brian Kibler that said, backstab all the things, and I'm like, oh yeah, that is just backstab everything.
Yeah, for 5 mana,
it seems a lot better.
Yeah. The thing with this guy is, listen, the ability's super powerful, especially in a game like Hearthstone that's so much more creature-based than the other TCGs that are out there. And this card is just, like you said, backstab all the things. Like, SI7 agent, everything. And this is exactly what he does. So you kind of understand it not quite being a 5/5 for 5 mana and having that ability. That doesn't make
that
any
would
sense.
be insane if he was a 5/5.
It would be the absolute nut. So it has to be a little scaled back as far as its stats go, and I'm totally okay with it because it's going to be at times like a 5 for 0.
Yeah.
Like it could. There's board states I've seen where it's a 7 for 0. Like you just gain this 4/3 nuke everything.
Rip muster for battle. Like it was already bad against Fan of Knives and all that stuff. Now it's just even worse with this guy. The existence of this guy.
Yeah. So look for Tempo Rogue to come back because I thought with GVG it was going to make a little bit of a push. And anything that gets me able to put Trade Prince Gallywix in a deck, 2 thumbs up. Okay by me.
Yeah.
All right, so we need to move on. We've got 2 more cards to look at here. Where they're both class cards. One of them is for Warrior. I started to talk about what I like about this card already, thinking it was Grim Patron. And then we also have Lava Shock. Which one of these do you want to talk about, John? We'll let you go first.
Let's go with that. Let's go with Axe Flinger.
All right, so why don't you? Do you know what the card does? Can you read it well enough to tell me?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, Axe Flinger is a 2/5 for 4, which is on the lower side of the stats curve, and it says whenever this minion takes damage, deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. So yeah, that definitely has combo potential written all over it. Normally, something like this that just does 2 damage to the face isn't that exciting, but when you think about the implications of, like we were talking about before, the bouncing blades, the whirlwinds, all that little incremental stuff that you can do, it can definitely add up. And I know you were talking about Commanding Shout. I don't know exactly how this ends up playing out with Commanding Shout.
So currently there's this warrior combo deck out there that plays like Raging Worgen, Inner Rage, Rampage, Charge, literally like 32U out of nowhere.
Yeah, Math Warrior.
Yeah. No, this is even different. This is
even different.
Yeah, this is OTK. Like Math Warrior wants to Whirlwind with a Frothing Berserker out and deal a mess of damage that way.
Oh, I thought those were the same deck. Okay.
No, this is Worgen combo. And it's like 7 cards that you have to build up, so you end up playing all these shield blocks, and it's surprisingly efficient. Like it is a viable deck that just people aren't playing because it's complicated, it's weird. If you're not a combo player, you're not going to think it's super fun. I happen to enjoy it. I think it's surprisingly good. Slightly worse than the regular warrior control deck, and I'm not one to play something suboptimal, is why I don't play it more.
Yeah.
But speaking of suboptimal, like 7-card combos are suboptimal. But Axe Flinger, Commanding Shout, and Bouncing Blades is a 3-card combo and kills the opponent. Is if they
I don't
don't have
actually know
anything
if
on
it
the
works like
board.
that.
If they don't have any creatures on the board, your opponent, they die.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think Bouncing Blade stops at some point.
It stops when your opponent dies.
So if you have 2 Acolyte of Pains out and you cast Commanding Shout and Bouncing Blades, do you lose the
And
game?
if your opponent has nothing, yes, you will lose.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
I haven't done it. I haven't done it, and we can test it in the after show if you'd like to.
Yeah, let's test it in the after show, because what happens if you just have 2 Chillwind Yetis out and they have nothing and you cast Commanding Shout and you Bouncing Blades? Does the game explode?
Yeah, like it might just. I mean, what I think might happen in that situation is the rope.
Oh yeah.
I think the rope would come into play.
I'm not sure.
To keep it from just ending. But
if that is a real thing, and you can 3-card combo with this card, it's going to get changed because Blizzard does not like. I'm not even being facetious. That they will not allow that.
Even if
they have taken all the fun I've had from playing combo out of Hearthstone because they don't like non-interactive combos in Hearthstone. They've just taken a stance and they've followed through with it every single time.
Yeah.
The
interesting thing is that you are obligated to kill your opponent's side of the board, like before you do it, because otherwise their things will die at some point.
Right.
No, and it's not. Yeah, it's not super hard to do. Like you could brawl the turn before and then play a weapon, and the weapon does it. You know, it can really, really not be too difficult. But let's move on to this shaman card. Okay. 2 mana, 2 damage. Unlock your overloaded mana crystals. 2 mana for 2 damage. That card sucks. That was my initial first reaction because I'm just so used to the other text on shaman cards, especially when I see the word overload, just meaning terrible, terrible things. Okay?
Yeah.
Then you actually soak in what the hell I just said. Unlock your overloaded mana crystals. So that means if on my turn I go Feral Spirit, Lightning Storm, I don't have enough mana, and I have to use my coin in order to cast Lava Shock. Okay, but I would not be penalized next turn. It would unlock those overloaded crystals, and I don't have any penalty next turn. That's insanity. Now, that's actually kind of the bonus. The thing is that, like, if you overloaded, like, let's say you went Neptulon Lightning Storm and cleared your opponent's board and played a 7/7, you're supposed to come into the next turn with 5 mana. If you spend 2 mana, you get that 5 mana that was unlocked back. Okay? So you get this turn and next turn. In that scenario, before you spend this 2 mana, you also Feral Spirit. You get 2 mana back next turn, 5 mana back this turn. John, talk about what that can do for Shaman.
Yeah, that allows you to play a lot of the cards that have kind of been cast aside, like Earth Elemental, just because the overload is so huge and the tempo swing, even though you have a 7/8, let's just forget that Big Fun Hunter that Big Fun Hunter exists. The 7/8 for 5 mana with Taunt is pretty good, but a 7/8, if you play the 7/8 for 5 and they can deal with it, and your next turn is like Totem Pass, it's really only decent. I mean, maybe it's a 2-for-1, maybe it's not. Maybe they just have the answer to it. But the ability to gain the extra, the overloaded crystals back, just it leads to just insane turns when you're playing multiple overload spells in a turn. It also just makes those cards like the Earth Elemental even better. Although there's other reasons that Earth Elemental might not be that good. You know, and it also, this is the type of card that just gets better and better every time they release cards with overload. Like, this card is not just in this set; it's in all of Hearthstone forever. So every time a new overload card comes out, it's like, oh, Lava Shock just got that much better, or you know, maybe it didn't, but it's at least in your mind. You know, they might make some insane overload thing like, I don't know, something that overloads your whole turn, but it's so insane. And then if you have the 2-card Lava Shot combo, you just get that much value, you know. It's stuff like that. And I mean, 2 damage for 2 mana is not nothing. You know, if you have 2 of them, you can kill a Ren Blackhand. So, you know, I don't know. I think that this is the type of card that has a lot of potential, not just now, but in the future of Hearthstone Arena. So very exciting card.
Yeah, the most powerful shaman cards are the ones with overload. They're so powerful that they have to have that drawback to them. This is a poor burn spell, but it's much more than a burn spell, as you said. It unlocks so many things. I look for Unbound Elemental to make a comeback. I look for there to be just these mid-range shaman decks out there that are actually going to do some damage, and they're going to really utilize the cards like Feral Spirit and Lightning Storm to make sure they constantly have an advantage over the board.
Right.
Then they get this burn spell that just helps them tremendously. I think it's a clear win, and it's a really good effort by Blizzard to bring Shaman back into the fold as a top-tier potential class. Just about every other class in the game has spent some time in the sun as the number one class in the format. I can't remember a time where Shaman was the clear-cut best.
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's been decent, but not the best.
Right. And I think it's due. So we have to keep trucking along here. We're going to have a conversation next about Dr. Balanced. Mr. Boom, we just had PAX East recently, and they obviously had a lot of news come out. This is where the BRM stuff landed. And kind of buried in that was this announcement from Blizzard in an interview. Oh, there's Mr. Boom right there. There's an announcement from Eric Dodds, the game director for Hearthstone. We actually don't have any plans right now to change Dr. Boom, and we are not looking at it. So they're not even currently exploring the possibility of nerfing this guy.
Yeah.
John, what are your thoughts on Dr. Boom and its current state in the metagame right now?
In its current state in the metagame, I think it's a little bit it kind of dominates. It definitely dominates the 7-drop slot. There's really nothing else at 7 that is even close. So a lot of people are like, oh, every deck plays Dr. Boom, we need to nerf it, yada, yada, yada. The problem with the argument is that he's very good, he's very powerful, but he's not really... I mean, he's not unkillable. I mean, he gets BGH, and then you still get the boom bots, but it's not that much of a problem to deal with him necessarily. It's not something that like, oh, you play Dr. Boom. Oh, well, they had Dr. Boom, you win the game. It's not like Jace in Magic where you just kind of lose if they have him out for a turn. They just get way too ahead in the game. They have too many options. Dr. Boom's kind of straightforward. He's a big old dude, and he can do a lot of damage, and his boom bots are pretty versatile. But in terms of like being broken, I don't think so. I think if they make some better 7-drops, Boom will still be played, but there's a time, and I know you remember this. I was playing Paladin, and I just made my deck completely BGH proof. Every single deck was running at least one BGH, except, and some were even running 2, because every single deck had Dr. Boom in it, and some had Dr. Boom, some had Ragnaros. BGH always had a target. I just took Dr. Boom out of my deck and put Trogzor in there. Trogzor is pretty good.
I'm currently rank 6 on the ladder with Paladin, and I'm Dr. Boom free. I'm BGH proof. I don't really look back on it as something I need. I don't look back on it as something that would tremendously help. It's just going to activate their BGHs. It's going, and even look at the matchups where you think it would be good, right? Like you want these end game cards against things like Warrior. I'm literally 6-0 against Warrior so far in like the 65 games I have on my tracking program. High win percentage against Priest. I'm undefeated against all brands of Warlocks, so there's a couple of handlocks in there as well. Like, it's been a really, really successful deck for me. It does not play the card. And really, I think the most broken thing about them are the boom bots on the side there. If they maybe said 1 to 3, that would be the change I'd like to see in the card. I don't think it's needed, though. It's just me getting really mad when my Ren Blackhand dies to a stupid boom bot. I don't want that to happen. And the reason he's so widely played is, like John said, where are the other good neutral 7-drops? We have Baron Geddon and we have Trogzor. unless you want to start playing Ravenholt Assassin or Stormwind Champion, it's not War Golem. Look out.
War Golem does strict downgrade, yeah. Oh,
right.
no, actually, War Golem doesn't get hit by Ren Blackhand, so.
Oh, man. All right, well, that's
new
techie.
Meta.
Ren Blackhand might be better if you said destroy target basic card.
Yeah, I mean, and if he could target himself, that would be great. Just get rid of him.
Kill yourself, Ren.
But yeah. No, but Dr. Boom, he's not warping. I mean, he kind of is warping the metagame, but it's not really in a bad way. It's not like, oh, well, they played their boom, I lose now. It's like you've got plenty of answers. You can just he's kind of vanilla-ish. I mean, his boom bots aren't, but he's basically vanilla. If they made him like a 7-5, he wouldn't even be that good, I don't think.
No.
It's the fact that it takes so many resources to really get over him, to get through him. But if you have a BGH, it's really not that hard. Yeah. It's really not that hard. And then the quote that I had was when I was playing against some guy, and I was late in the game, and I play the Trogzor, and I just go, nice BGH in your hand, idiot. Like, I know he had it in his hand the whole time. Just play it out. I know you're not. I don't have a target, man. Just play it.
That was the funniest thing I think John's ever said to me, because I spectated him. I did not whisper him even a minute. We talked about it earlier in the day about how he's not playing anything BGHable in his deck and whatever. And he plays out the Trogzor. And it's just nothing. And while his opponent's thinking, I just get this message from the first thing we've said to each other on Battle.net in like 3 days. It's nice BGH in your hand, idiot. It just literally cracked me up. Like, I don't know why. John always finds a way to get me with just the most basic comment ever. It's all about delivery.
Yeah.
All right, So I have to push us through this conversation as well. I know it's one people really like about, but we're going to be running long today. I have to apologize here as we move into our deck tech. We're going to take a look at Savit's Mage. I had promised a viewer that I would show some individual cards, and it completely slipped my mind this morning as I made the PowerPoint. And I'm going to do it next week. It was a really good idea. Just going to throw up some of the images on the side here so that people that maybe aren't familiar with the cards or are newer to Hearthstone can see them and get a little better introduced to that in the future. I'm sorry that I didn't do that today. John, why don't you talk about this thing?
So I was watching Savit's, and we'll kind of keep this short. And I'm like looking for interesting decks. All the interesting decks I had are either Rogue or Hunter, and like we already talked about those. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go over every iteration of Rogue. That's kind of boring. So I'm like looking for an interesting deck, and I see Savit's playing this. I'm like, he's playing a weird mage deck, and I'm like, okay, Mana Worm, sure, Zombie Chow, okay, Unstable Portal, okay, that's a fun card. He's got a secret package in there. It's like, oh, Echo of Madiba. He's like the value Echo of Madiba deck, and I'm like looking through it, and I'm like, okay, so I'm like, I'm gonna make this up. So I'm going through and I'm making it. I put the cards in, and I'm like, okay, 2 this, 2 Frostbolts, 2 Fireballs, 2 this, and I'm like, why am I'm 2 cards off. I'm looking back. I'm like, wait a second. There's no Fireballs in this deck. What? There's a Mage deck that doesn't have 2 Fireballs in it? Okay, we're talking about this on the cast. Now, I watched him play it for a couple hours at probably somewhere between rank 4 and 1. Like, he fluctuated a little bit. And he was playing pretty well with it. I mean, he's a professional player, so he kind of, he's kind of good. So maybe he was outplaying his opponents more than the deck was, but I mean, a lot of the cards are pretty cool. I mean, it's just a value Echo of Madiba deck. You can kind of like overload the board, and you kind of have some late game. You don't have any draw power except for the Loot Hoarders, but you've got some late game with the Echo of Madiba. If you just have a board of 3 or 4 guys, you can Echo Madiba and really be able to push yourself through the rest of the game. The Mind Control tech, he said it was in there because there's no AoE spells. The Kalthazad, like you said, does seem kind of random, but it's definitely sweet. That's for sure. Unstable Portal, once again, really sweet card. And Defender of Argus, I don't know if I could ever justify running an Enhancer Mechano if you're not already running 2 Defender of Argus. I think it's just too random and just not that much better. But I mean, Wind Fury is it's really powerful. So is Divine Shield, but +1/+1 taunt is, I think, better than the average of what you get off of Enhancer Mechano. And I mean, this deck really just does look like a pile of basic cards. I'm not gonna lie, but it's definitely interesting, and he was playing it pretty well. So if you're looking for something spicy, this is probably pretty spicy. It's on the spicier end of decks I've seen as of late.
So I'm a little bit. John found this deck interesting, and I'm a little bit forcing him to take the Pro Savitsas Mage deck side, and you can tell he's reluctant to. I hate this pile. This deck makes no sense. It's completely lost in the weeds. I wish I could be Savits and just make no sense and slap random 60 cards together, or no, 40 cards together. How many cards do you play in this
30
game?
30.
Put 30 cards in a deck and just win. Like, that would be so nice. Instead, I have to play good decks that I like put thought into. And it's terrible. I don't get what this is doing. I don't see a single card in here that makes me go, man, I really need Kel'Thuzad. Also, I want to point out, hashtag secret package, because my boy over there decided that had to be a thing.
Those are our names. It's secret package and large package. Or no, giant package. Giant package. That's what it is. I don't even know which one's worse.
I don't want either of them. But anyways, yeah, I don't get it. You said it kind of plays out a lot like a zoo deck. Again, then why the hell would you play Kel'Thuzad? And also, like,
I don't know, man.
What is Echo of Medivh doing here? Where is that value? I see Piloted Shredder is the only thing. Like, just because you play Piloted Shredder doesn't mean there's a home for KT in your deck, and there's a home for what the hell was the other one I was talking about?
Echo Medivh.
Echo Medivh. And it makes no sense. At least there's Sludge Belchers, so I get that, but you just
overload the board and you just draw. It's basically like 4 mana, draw 3 cards, and all the cards are minions.
Yeah.
That's about as the best way I could describe it.
And it's completely lost on me how this would be something that like would have a cohesive strategy. But anyways, we thought the polarizing really viewpoints on it are good, and clearly the guy won some games with it. There's a lot of ways to play Mage, and it seems like he's trying to achieve 3 of them. And I think if you streamlined it down to maybe just 2 ways inside the same deck to play the class, it might be a little better. But there's plenty of valuable cards here, like you said. I could change 3 cards here and be much more okay with the deck, but they're just like headlining cards that really, really frustrate me and make it so that I don't want to even consider this a viable option. But nonetheless, like your super secret package that you have here, the counterspell has been a popular addition to the Mage decks, and it's something that I played against a deck that literally didn't have Mirror Entity, but it had 2 counterspells in it, and I didn't even know how to play around that. And I'm like joking around in the stream at the time, and I'm like, I don't respect Mirror Entity and Mage anymore. I'm just going to assume, I'm going to save my coins. I'm going to assume it's counterspell every time. Because he like blew me out so bad with the second one, it wasn't even funny. I was ready for the first one. The second one, I was like, no, this is Mirror Entity. I hate you. And then I got wrecked. It was bad.
Yeah, it's playing a random. I'm probably going to write an article about this at some point, but playing a random, or maybe not random, but like unexpected secret package is, I think it's definitely viable, because people play around. Like, secrets are really good if your opponent doesn't know how to play around them, but secrets are also really good if your opponent knows exactly how to play around them and you're playing something different. So that's the long and short of my secret package. Oh man, where's the package counter?
Anyways, so
we're gonna need to change the name of the episode.
We actually almost got this episode done inside a reasonable time frame for what we set out.
Almost.
Which is pretty good. We're only going to be the usual 5 to 10 minutes over, which isn't too bad.
Yeah.
But we do have an announcement for you, kind of a reminder. We talked about it last week. GameCore has a fireside gathering in a tournament in Erie, Pennsylvania. A lot of you guys are local, nearby, me and John, and are friends of ours. So we will both be in attendance. I will be streaming this event. I think John will be playing in this event.
Yes, I will.
So, but I will almost definitely be streaming, and then I'm sure John will join me in commentary after.
Yeah, when I go O2 drop, I will.
After his eventual and inevitable O2 drop, he will be in the booth, and
Yep.
he's just showing up to contribute to the prize pool, which is first place, $300. So, definitely worth the drive if you're anywhere nearby.
100%. And GameCore, we talked about this last time. GameCore is a sweet place.
Yeah.
Sweet venue.
And getting
owner's really
with,
cool
with a cyber lounge area, things like that he's putting in. So worth checking out if you haven't seen it in a little while. Next, we have our streamer spotlight, and this is a friend of some people that watch us live. This is somebody who recently did a favor for our personal friend Peach. He is a streamer that will be featured at a later date, Peach4. Feel free to check him out as well. But for now, let's talk about Revenge ist Sweet. Okay, I don't know if it's meant to be German or if it's like Revengist Sweet. I'm not 100% certain on that. Everybody calls him Rev.
Geist tweets. Yeah, Rev.
Yeah. So call him Rev. That's what he goes by. He's really, really good at this game, guys. I've got to say. I was really impressed watching him. He pushed a high rank. He was inside top 5 inside the first week of this season. So I don't know if he's hit legendary or not yet. I haven't been able to catch his stream in a couple of days. If he's not there, he's certainly close. Part of a group of streamers has some interesting decks. And John, I know you watched him the other day too. Did you see him play any arena?
He might have been playing arena, but I get super bored watching people play arena because I'm just better than them in arena. So, but I used to watch arena a lot because I really liked arena, and I'll probably start watching arena again once Blackrock Mountain comes out because it will be interesting again. But I just get so bored watching arena. But he was playing constructed when I was watching him, and he was pretty entertaining. He was a good guy, really good at the game, and he gets this streamer spotlight because he threw the bone to our boy Peach, and I'm really a proponent of getting to know people on a personal level and helping each other out and using connections, social connections that you have to really promote each other from, the grassroots up. And I think this is kind of a way that when he hosted Peach, I was like, oh, that is so cool. He's getting the streamer spotlight. And, and I watched him and he was good. If he was really bad we'd probably be like, shout outs to him. He hosted our buddy, but no, he was definitely worth the watch.
We won't ever highlight somebody without explicitly telling you that they are an entertainment-only stream. Don't go there looking for the best play. Go there because they're really entertaining to watch and hang out with, and they interact with chat. Rev is entertaining, but you will learn when you play with him. He had an interesting take on the Oil Rogue deck we talked about last week. I played with that a bunch myself and had some success with it. So, this is one of those ones where you will, these are the streams you watch to make you better. This is a very good player, and keep an eye on him. I know he went to a tournament recently and he didn't do great in it. I actually don't know how he did. He didn't top or anything like that. So, but a very quality stream for you guys to check out.
Yeah, definitely worth the follow. I'm pretty sure he's not a sub yet, but he seems like the type of guy. If I don't know how often he streams, but I feel like he's the type of guy that if he streams enough, he can get the sub button.
Yeah, he'll for sure get there. He doesn't currently have it to my knowledge. So, but
yeah.
We are towards the end of our show, which means we have time for questions if anybody wants to throw any into Twitch chat. If you're new to the podcast watching in Twitch chat, bear with us. We will be here for an after show. If you're watching on YouTube, stop by 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Wednesday is when we record the show. We do an after show as well where me and John hang out. Today we're going to test and see how stupid we can make Commanding Shout and Warrior and whether or not we can bug my client out and crash it, or if we can kill me by drawing too many cards with Acolyte of Pain. We're going to do stupid things. Last week we built random decks. We literally just click new deck, had the viewers choose the class for the first game, and me and John picked for each other in the second game. And we just randomly generated decks in play. So we have a lot of fun in the after show. please do stop by and check us out. Also, before we get to these questions, that if we get any to come in, we have the Stump the Blevins portion of the show.
Oh man, I forgot about this.
So
I'm not ready.
What this is I'm going to name a card in Hearthstone, and John is going to tell you the sound it makes when it enters the battlefield when you summon it. He's also going to do a reasonable impression, and if he doesn't, we're going to rely on Twitch chat and YouTube comments to tell us whether or not he gets credit for it, okay? We had a discrepancy last time. We didn't really discuss it, but currently the score in this is 1-1. John didn't even get it correct on Mad Scientist after the delay. Like, he was too late in submitting an answer.
I was too late, and I was wrong.
Yeah, and he was wrong. So, John, what's Mad Scientist again?
It's I had it before. I can't even think of it now. It's I'll show them all, something like that.
Okay, so that's the general idea of it. Okay, that's the one he got wrong last week, and we'll make him own up to it every week if he gets one wrong. That's how we'll help him remember. So he'll have to come back if he gets one wrong and tell us what it is next week. Yep. So he does not know what these cards are, and John, the first one we're gonna do is Abusive Sergeant.
Abusive Sergeant is get in there and fight, maggot!
Get in there and fight, maggot!
All right, so there it is. He nailed it. And I found a website that lets me play the sounds right after he makes his guess. So that was the first one goes in the John column here. And by the way, I expect to lose this game. I'm very upset to even have a point yet. I almost called off the whole segment, but we gave him a pass. John, the next card, your second challenge and last challenge of the week is Acolyte of Pain.
Acolyte of Pain is let's see, what is Acolyte of Pain? No, it's not that. It is Bring the Pain. No, what is it?
Speak to me.
Let the pain speak to me.
Oh, that's right. What is his attack animation?
Bring the pain.
Oh, you see, I got the attack.
You got the attack. And the creepiest death sound in existence.
Yes.
Oh, you know.
Way too excited about dying.
It's like he just Craigasms when he dies.
Right, like it's just super awkward.
I want at least half credit, if not full credit for that, chat. I want at least half credit, if not full credit.
Absolutely not. I will campaign chat through the whole
YouTubers rise to the team secret package.
Giant package if you think it's 1-1 for both weeks so far. All right. We're going to have to monitor those hashtags because if anybody uses either of them, I'm in reference to us, I'm going to freak out.
Greatest accomplishment, not close.
Yes. Okay. So it looks like we do have a question.
Yes.
Okay. I've been playing for about a week now. The first 10 games I was playing against people who had about the same power level decks as I did. Now I'm on a 9-game losing streak where everyone I play against has multiple legendaries and just better overall cards. Should I just be playing Arena or something? That question is from Dr. Plath from Twitch. Thank you very much, Mr. Plath, for your question. John, I'll let you kind of address it first.
Yeah, so I did kind of talk about situations like this in my article I posted on the first week, which is about getting into Hearthstone. It is at themainblevent.blogspot.com, I think, maybe. I don't know. I might be able to link it or something at some point.
It'll be in the description.
It'll be in the description. It's also on my Twitter all the time, which you can follow me there. Yes, I got it right.
No,
no, that's not my Twitter, though.
That's our email. You can email us over there.
Or you can also email me any questions there. But basically, if you enjoy playing Arena at all, just play Arena because you're gonna get your card collection from Arena. If you want, you can definitely find tier. maybe not tier 1. You can find tier 1 decks pretty cheap. The only legendary in my hunter deck that I got legend with is Leroy, and you could feasibly replace him with something else. I went over, what kind of cards you should be crafting first. So you're kind of efficient with your early dust. It's pretty important that you're not diversifying too much with your early dust when you don't have that much. But honestly, if you're not having fun or success in constructed, just play arena. Arena is pretty fun, especially when you're first starting to play. It's going to get, excuse me, it's going to get a lot more fun, I think, once the Blackrock Mountain cards come out, because adding any number of new cards to Arena really spices it up. There's a lot of cool little interactions that you can find in Arena. So I would say probably just stick to Arena. I also don't really find that much enjoyment of just like getting to like rank like 12 or something. That doesn't. Like, if I'm not getting to Legend, I don't really care if I get anything before that, except for 20, obviously, because you want the card backs. But I don't know how much you really gain from getting non-Legend before that. But, I mean, it's really breaks down to whatever you have fun doing.
Right.
I would not suggest doing Arena if you don't have fun, because you really get burnt out on it, and I did when I first started playing. So.
Yeah, Arena was a lot of fun for me because I took to it even better than I ever did like Magic Limited. So like you said, if you're enjoying Arena, play it. If you're enjoying Constructed, play it. I think it's important though where you spend your gold, right? Like I don't think you should be mixing it up between Arena and packs unless you like build up a bunch, right? So maybe don't spend any gold until you have more than 500. Then you can enter the Arena, you know what I mean, a few times. But if the best way to push your collection is Arena, hands down. So I would almost recommend you start there predominantly first, more so than laddering. Just keep yourself at least rank 20, get your card backs, and go from there. Yeah, John said it best. Do what you're enjoying. Our friend Peach hated the Arena, never really wanted to play it, didn't and spent minimal money on the game, and now is to a point where he pretty much owns everything and can play whatever he wants. So you can do it either way. If you're at all successful in the Arena, it's definitely the best way to get cards. So one more quick question here. Do you think they will make anti-class cards? So specific cards like Battlecry ability that says overloaded mana crystals do not unlock next turn. So it would almost extend the overload into a second turn, is what my interpretation of what he just said. What do you think about that, John?
I think that there's definitely design space for it. I do, however, think that those types of hate cards, at least in Magic, are mostly there for tournament play, like the cards like Combust or like Great Sable Stag that are like specific hate cards for certain colors or decks aren't really that fun. They're there for balancing issues, and I think Blizzard doesn't want to make cards that balance the format by hating on something, because it makes people have less fun. They have said that they're not going to ever implement things that make your opponent discard, because it's not fun to have your cards discarded. In the same vein, I don't think they're going to make cards that specifically hose decks, because something like even the Battlecry thing, it's like, well, I can't play anything this turn, I guess I just passed my turn. That really frustrates people. That type of thing frustrates people, and it's like, well, you're playing the one card that hates specifically my deck. That card's terrible against Rogue. That card's terrible against Mage. Like, you're just playing it to beat me. That's not fun. A lot of people feel like that, and I think Blizzard has more effective tools at balancing the format than specifically hate cards like that. Though I think that there might be cards like Hemet Nessingwary, for example, is a card that is in the same vein of a class-specific hate card, but I mean, he's not pushed at all. I think they could push further than Hemet Nessingwary, but I don't think they're going to push much further. That's my interpretation of it.
Yeah, I mean, the crux of the question is, do you think they will make? Odds are no. It's a very specific idea, so just kind of to break down the letter of your question, I mean, probably not. But I do think it's an interesting idea, and I think that maybe that the percentage of how likely they would be to do it would shift more in favor of them doing it if they were to implement some sort of sideboarding aspect to the game for tournament play. Something like that where, are you really going to want to play those cards when they're completely dead against all but one class? I almost don't care how popular the class gets. Hunter at its worst.
Right.
I don't know that I would play 2 copies of Hunters can't use their hero abilities. I don't think I would play 2 copies of that.
Probably not.
No, so it's...
And they wouldn't print a card like that, I don't think.
Right, and a lot of these sets, too, they're not huge. Like, other TCGs have huge sets with hundreds and hundreds of cards. This next one coming out, 31. So it makes it a lot harder to include such narrow use cards like that. So, all right, guys. Well, that'll pretty much just about wrap it up for us. You got anything to add before we get going here, John? Your article. Mention that.
Oh yeah, I did write an article about my some tips that helped me get to legendary. You can check it out at the channel that I mentioned earlier. I have been relatively decent about getting an article out every week. I've got probably 2 or 3 more article ideas lined up. If you have any ideas for things that you want me to explain in more detail in like article form, please either email it to that right there, or message me on Twitter, message me on Facebook, tweet it over there. Woo! Tweet it. Message the Facebook page. Message me personally. Although I kind of would rather have it on the show's Facebook page, just so more people can see it and comment on it and give me some more ideas on what to talk about. I really, really enjoy writing about Hearthstone, and I've got a number of ideas lined up, but what I really like to do is write articles that are going to help people. The first, how many have done? Three articles have all been kind of like informative articles about people who are either just starting or have kind of hit a bump that I had, very recently hit myself. I just kind of go over things that have helped me. But if you have anything more specific that you'd like me to talk about, please let me know. Also, thank you guys all for the support that you've been showing. All the retweets were very much appreciated. All the Twitter follows, all the Facebook page likes. I haven't talked to Jim about it, but I have some ideas for some giveaways if we get some hit some sweet milestones, like maybe 100 Facebook likes or something like that. I've got some ideas for some cool giveaways. There are some cool things that can be given away. Ooh, what's that? I don't know. And maybe some bigger goals. Like, what's that? Oh, I don't know what that is. Maybe it'll be given away at some point. But that's all in the future. Thank you guys for all the support that you give. It's really appreciated. It's really helping us accrue the crucial internet fame points that we thrive on.
Oh, fake internet points are so new.
Oh, so good.
They're the best. All right, guys. Until next week, I'm really looking forward to it. Hopefully, we got some sweet new Blackrock Mountain cards to take a look at and dominate the vast majority of the show.
That's just gonna happen. I'm sorry.
Like us on Facebook. Share the post. Share it from the initial post, so that way we see it. If we don't see it, how can we enter you? So please, it helps us spread the word. It helps you get free packs, or free packs singular. And we really, really appreciate everybody coming by, the live show viewers, the YouTube viewers. It's all good. See you guys in the after show in just a couple minutes or next week.
See ya.
Yes. Sever my wrath. Gotcha.